Good morning, Maplewood. How are you today? As we spoke last week, you'll all be getting a 10-minute TVA review in lieu of our meeting last week, since we have the Twin Peaks conference. So as you can see right here, I've got your TVA for last week on the screen. Last week you had a 6.73 in food, and in the bar we had a 10.55. Maplewood, the first thing I'm going to guess with you guys is we've got to have some kind of administrative error. Looking at your recipe cost, we'll jump back a week. Looks to be about in line, a point low, but can't complain. Your non-recipe cost looks a little low, and it looks like you grew a lot of tea sweetener. $150 would definitely hurt your non-recipe. Also, you guys are still counting the old tortilla chips, which you should have transitioned out of some time ago. So right there you're growing those chips. It's shrinking your non-recipe. It's driving your theoretical down, which makes your TVA higher. We'll dive right into the variants. First thing I see is eggs, queso. That's really high for eggs. You normally see that in conjunction with just missing a lot of queso for the period. Bacon slab. My first guess is going to be how much you guys have on the line on Monday morning. It's a common theme. Ground beef, pot roast. Almost no growth. Fries pub. Wow. Alright, so fries, you guys. That is 14 cases in 1 week. That may have been a receiving error. If you look right under fries, you'll see other tortilla chip quarter cut all. That's the chip you should be receiving, and you are ordering and receiving. Unfortunately, you are counting it incorrectly. I would double check some counts on this compound butter, the hollandaise sauce. But French fries here, let's have some fun and do a little math. So if every case is about $21, so 13,736. We'll just say it was 14. So there are 84 bags in each case, or in a set collectively. They are all worth 80 ounces. Now we're going to times that by 0.75 because we shrink out 25%. So you guys last week lost 1,008 portions of French fries. That is 144 a day and 72 a shift. So French fries has got to be a hot item count. It's got to be monitored. Let's see here. Chicken tenders, very high on chicken tenders. Chicken wings, you lost a case. We're talking several cases on tenders. That's got to be a count error. Unfortunately, being a week out, we can't go back and check counts. I mean, obviously, if you have your count sheets, we can make a change request. That's why we like to do these meetings Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So when we do see errors, we can go back and adjust accordingly. Avocados, about 2 cases of avocados. So I guess you guys, to make up for losing all the chicken, decided to grow onions, because you grew $300 worth of white onions. Alright, let's take a look at that. Seafood looks good, so we're going to jump over to bar and we'll touch on IVA. So the first thing that I notice about your bar TVA is non-recipe cost. It should never be up around an 8.8. Should never be up really over 3 or 4. So let's talk about non-recipe for just a moment. Non-recipe costs are items that are not used in recipes, or they've had the recipe measure removed, such as sodas. However, it is also items that have not been sold during the period of which inventories run. So last week, or the week prior actually, if we look, Glenlivet was not rung up. If you check an Aloha P-Mix, DL P-Mix, Marketing Vital P-Mix, doesn't matter whose P-Mix, they will tell you did not ring up one single shot of Glenlivet. However, your count from 619 to 625, it says you went through $136 worth. So this is not a variance. It's not telling you what you're missing. It's telling you what you've used. Without a recipe to base the theoretical on, it's just actual usage. So if you look at your top liquors here, you'll see you've got a lot of loss, and it could just simply be counting. You know, this week you pull the bottles down and everything's a 0.7. Next week you don't pull the bottles down, everything's a 0.6 or a 0.8. You know, when you have $1 here and there, usually that's flavoring. It's in a shot that maybe the recipe's not right. But you guys need to attack this aggressively. I mean, you're missing a few $100s right there. And remember, that's going to drive your non-recipe cost up, which will drive your theoretical up, but you've got an actual of 39.4. So let's look at keg deposits real quick. They're never going to match dollar for dollar, but they should be pretty close. When they're not close, here's what happens. One of two things. One, it looks like you got about $1,100 in deposits and about $900 in returns. So that means you're a little heavy. That'll inflate your non-recipe. You need these truck drivers to pick stuff up on the regular. If they do not, we just store it in Winston-Salem. The driver picks them up pretty much every other week. So very cyclical. The GM got caught in a down cycle at the end of period. Had $1,800 in keg returns but $300 in deposits. It drove her non-recipe to -4%. She completely missed her bar cost. And there's nothing we can do because the driver was lazy, and that's when we got the money back. As for these beers you guys have in here, I would look at what we're ringing up and what we're receiving. Because again, if these beers are in here, they're not being rung up, but you're probably using them and counting them. So you've got a disconnect between the point of sale, how you're receiving, and how you're counting. Okay? We're going to jump over to your all food IVA. Now remember, you guys had some homework. It's the hot item counts. You should have been doing them every day along with your invoices. Your top 5 losses, your top 3 gross. I'm going to pull those all tomorrow and dissect them. Once you kind of walk through this video once, maybe twice, you should have an idea of how to start identifying some issues. All the videos will be up there for the stores. They've all have some similar but unique issues. So you'll learn a trick or two from each. But when we talk on Wednesday, you guys should have some insights on how to start driving the ship to correct these problems, instead of just watching me click away. So we're going to go through real quick. We're going to jump to bacon. We're just going to pick out a couple of things. Bacon slab. So on last Monday, you had 8 pounds of bacon. Not bad. The week before, you had 22 pounds of bacon on the line prepped for a Monday morning. That was on 6/19. We're going through this with a store in Pensacola. Its cooks just say, oh, we should always have 15 pounds of bacon on hand. You don't. The more resources people have available to them, the more mistakes they will make. They will tend to work a little more carefully. They will treat those resources a little more preciously, and try to make as few mistakes as possible. So I'd watch kind of what we have on hand. You look pretty good there. We may have just a high week. I always like to go back and look at historicals. Let's see what's going on with your chicken. 115 pounds. Alright. Let's see here. I like the fact that you guys are counting things the way they are supposed to be counted. Quesadilla bags, chicken bags, tenders, all. I would challenge you, though, to verify that all 3 of these orders were received correctly, such as they didn't short you a case. I believe Maplewood, we've already had an issue where they shorted your fries, they put on another invoice, but someone just kind of finally received it anyway. I would challenge you to go back and verify that maybe a case wasn't shorted on there. At least that's something for you to start with. And fries. Alright, so we started the week with 71 bags. We ended with 60 bags. And so let's just look real quick. So 20, 28. Let's see what you ordered the week before. This is how I go and just start checking. There's the week before, 98 bags was your theoretical. You guys have to come up with some kind of measuring method to send out 5 ounces, not just a half a save a day. Because your half and my half are going to be much different sizes. Also, your orderings 35 to 28. Those 7 cases is kind of a big deal. You seem to always have 70, 80 bags on hand at the end of the week. So that seems about right. 51 bags. 59. So I think we had it off a couple of weeks there for you. And even here you'll see 32 bags. So you did have one high week of ordering. That kind of threw you off. I know I've already gone over my 10 minutes. Sorry. One thing I will touch on is your Glenlivet, though. Actually, Patron, the first one, missing 6 bottles. So let's make sure that you guys are receiving cases when you're supposed to be receiving cases. I think that might be an issue. Or a bad count. If it's a bad count, do an inventory change request. Where is your... You guys don't even have Glenlivet on your beverage IVA. I will find out why. So you can't really do anything. Look it up and find it out. Let's just pick on a couple of things real quick. Tito's, you guys, 5.8 bottles. All right. Obviously, you guys, there is a need for hot item counts in the bar. Kegs, typical. This line of Kugel, because you're missing one exactly, I'm going to guess it's a receiving error. So we're not counting the correct product. Line of Kugel Summer Shandy, zero inventory, but you received one. So we've got to find out what you guys are really calling this when you count it. We can get that switched over and all those counts adjusted. Goose Island IPA, I feel like this is probably something you are using. But no beginning inventory, no orders received, but you ended with it. How do you grow beer? Something to look into. So, hey, you got some homework, Maplewood, that you got to give to me on Wednesday. We're going to talk about your hot item counts. We're going to talk about your TVA and identification. I want to know what's going on with your bacon, what a game plan is for French fries, because 14 cases a week just ain't cutting it. I mean, at $20 a case, that's a lot of money. Chicken tenders, and let's figure out why you have some mismatches in the bar. So, hot item IVAs, non-recipe, and we'll start digging into some more details, some high-level stuff next week. I look forward to talking to you guys again. Bye.